It's a picture that I like of him, so I took that. That's a picture from the newspaper. This is a bullet from the 21 bullets that they shot. And that's another one. And that's wings that he got that when he jumped out of a plane.
His name Ari Weiss, Ben Suzy Vishmo Menachem Halevi, Samar Rishon. This was his army ID number. Nolad Barzot Habrit, Yudbet B'Cheshvan, 22nd of October, 1980.
Ari was 12. Very easygoing little boy, very into sports and his friends in America. He had heard a lot about Israel, and we had talked about it. He had never been, and Ari thought that he would never see another basketball again.
Alal Aretz, 1992, Nafal B'Krav B'Shchem, died in Shechem, and Kaftet Tishrei, 24th of Tishrei.
And so we bought him all his Michael Jordan posters and paraphernalia, baseball and basketball. And when he came here, he was pleasantly surprised.
Mispar Achadhu. It means he was number one, which was what his sergeants used to say about him, Mispar Achadhu.
Ari was the star of the 6th grade, as kids had heard about his room and asked if they could come over and see his room. And he was good at sports. And if a little boy is good at sports and comes to Israel, he'll make it.
Ari was not judgmental at all. At least not that I knew him. He was a little bit shy sometimes. He was an amazing friend. He would do anything I asked from him. He just wanted to make me happy all the time. I never remember once ever being sad or crying next to him. He was more like a brother for a while. After we got over the family connection, we just hung out a lot, just the two of us, and we started talking every night.
Ari went to a yeshiva high school, and it must be something in the air, but as they're completing high school, they can't wait to get into the Army.
Like most of his classmates, decided that he was going to serve in a combat unit. It wasn't something he asked us, but we accepted it.
Ari was scared, but very proud, and Ari was a little insecure. And so being one of the guys was very important to him.
He was a very gentle boy, with a very soft-spoken, very good to his friends, giving person, always a smile on his face, and virtually every picture you'll ever see of him, even when nobody else is smiling, he's smiling.
He was going to go into the Nahal Brigade, and Ari wanted very much to go into the elite unit. It was a 5-day, very rigorous training and weeding out course. There was over 400 applicants, and less than 100 would finish. I'm ashamed to say, we're not very confident that he would finish either, but we wanted him to try. The next morning he went in, we wished him luck, gave him a kiss, gave him his siddur, told him we'll put in a word, and with his cell phone we said to him, call us when you drop out. So day 1, day 2, no phone call. They say within 2 hours, half the applicants are already out. By day 3, I'm ashamed to say that I had called the phone company, that something must have been wrong with my cell phone because I'm expecting a call. And after 4.5 days, he called and said, I'm in. I did it. I'm in. And I lied and said, I knew you could do it.
It was just I don't remember 1 or 2 days passing before we had a conversation if he was in the Army and tell me stories about the Army or, home, and we would straight away go out. This one time he called me from Ramallah. What's up? How you doing? And I couldn't hear him well because there was so much wind blowing. I said, where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm in Ramallah. I'm like, okay, but why is there so much wind? He's like, well, I'm in this house that we just evacuated. And I'm like, you're calling me from a house you just evacuated in Ramallah? He's like, well, what do you want? Either I call you from there, I don't call you at all. And I said, no, could, call me wherever you are, that's fine.
Most of his 26 months of military service were in active combat. He was an explosives expert. He was the best shot in his unit. He was always being called upon for all kinds of dangerous missions. Sleeping out in the rain, middle of the night, going and rooting out, looking for terrorists, sometimes having to blow up their homes. Not something he looked forward to, but he accepted it as part of his service.
Ari did a year Mechina, which is learning for a year, then 3 years Army. And that was the program he went into. I went into the Hesder program, which is learning, then doing Army, then learning again. We were in different units. Ari was in the Nachal Brigade, I was in the Paratrooper Brigade. Funny enough is there are hundreds of thousands of soldiers, and I got to serve with Ari one time in one place, and it was for about 2 nights. It was in Ramallah, and I got to serve and guard with him then very shortly. I mean, he had one mission and I had another one, seeing as we're different units, but just like it was the only time I saw him as far as, fighting. He was young, and he was motivated, and I don't think we pick the time that we have. It's more important to have life in your years than years in your life.
I remember hearing on the radio a while back that Hebron had a pigua yari. Sometime after he came home and we went out, he said to me, they took them on Friday night to with a helicopter to Hebron because they needed to, secure the situation there. And he said that was like one of the one times he was so scared, and he just said to me, like, I really thought, like, I would die. And I said, chas v'chalila. I said, don't talk like that. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I really did. And I remember that was the first time I ever thought, like what would happen? God forbid. And I said, that can't happen. It's Ari. We're going to be together always.
He was part of a mission. The IDF had uncovered Hamas headquarters in Shechem, and his platoon was guarding the building, and they were going through and uncovering many valuable documents about terrorist activities. He went on guard with a friend, and the terrorists saw them and shot both Ari and his friend. His friend was wounded and still remains paralyzed from the waist down. And Ari was hit by one bullet that entered his left shoulder and punctured the lung, and he died there on the spot. The other soldiers returned fire. There was a major gun battle that broke out then. Eventually they destroyed the building from where the shots had come. And that information that Ari helped and his platoon helped to retrieve resulted in the saving of many, many lives and the arrest of many terrorists. Ari's body was brought here from, it had been in the Shomron, in a base near Shechem. We had the funeral on Tuesday, which was a very, very large funeral, 2,000 people. And then we had the Shiva process. It was just very hard to describe, overload of emotion and camaraderie from many, many people.
B'nai Yisrael did not become B'nai Yisrael by dying old. And this is the price we pay for living in our own land, free, where no one can tell us to leave. This is our home and we've returned, and this is the price we have to pay for that luxury.